crowd. Okay, well,
Long-time resident, off and on, and now she's on for some months, and so she can tell us more about herself, and we will hear her stories about Mani, and she will also be singing, sharing some
With
songs
you.
from Mani.
Yes.
With all of us. So, Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
So where do I look if I wanted to talk to the whole wide world? Okay, and of course I'll look at you too, but. Okay, Jai Baba, this is so much fun to be here together and to know that this is something that was started with Babaji, and he would always talk about the inner net. So I just wanted to say that because I just loved when he would play on words. So rather than the internet, the internet of Baba's love. And tonight I'm here basically to share a little bit about Mani, Baba's sister. One thing that comes to mind right away is how warm Mani was, how charming, how fun, but how she would say when she was a little girl that she would think, my friend has a godmother and my other friend has a godfather. Nobody but nobody has a god brother. God brother. So I always thought that was just so wonderful. And she would so enjoy telling the story of her birth. She would say, I begged my mother, tell me again, tell me again, tell me again. And that's when Mani was born, December 15th, 1918, that Meherbaba, was waiting just outside the delivery area, from what I understand. And as soon as Mani was born, before she was even washed, he grabbed her and held her in his arms and said something, you have no idea how fortunate she is. And Shireen Mai was saying, Merog, she's not even washed yet. And he would, and I'm paraphrasing, because I don't remember exact quotes, so I'm paraphrasing, but she's mine. She will do great work for me. So, I mean, wow. No wonder she'd love to hear that story over and over again. It's like, please tell me again. What did he say? What did he say? And then Shireen would tell her the story over and over again. So, of course, we know that Mani fulfilled that those words of Baba, that she did do great work for him, and that he was very pleased with his sister. And, we all, those who have met her, know her beautiful, bubbly, effervescent personality. But I also like to remember what a wonderful writer she was. If you've read in detail the family letters, they are so exquisitely detailed, expressive. She was a masterful writer. She really was. I also like to say about Mani, who I feel like was the mentor of my life, really, when I think about it. I mean, I don't think she thought of herself as my mentor or anything like that, because they didn't have that kind of ego, the Mandali, were like, oh, I'm somebody's mentor. But they certainly knew that they wanted to please Baba in their actions, and so those of us who came within their circle, and the closer we would get to them, maybe the more corrections we would get. And that was fine. That was good to be able to get that. So my husband Peter and I were fortunate enough to live in the trust compound for several years after we were married. And that was a wonderful boon because Mani Erich would come to the office, Valna too, and of course Bauji was living in the trust compound at that time. So we had wonderful, lots of personal time with the Mandali that was just amazing. And we didn't think of it as spiritual training, but it really was true spiritual training. And of course, I think we continue to get spiritual training in our everyday lives, don't we? Whether the Mandali are here or not. Baba is giving us spiritual training every day. I didn't prepare anything necessarily in sequential order, so it's just going to be sort of spontaneous speaking about Mani. What I'd like to say also about Mani, because I did think about this, is that Mani was an artist in almost every way that you can think of. She was a puppeteer, she was an actress, she was a director to get the skit together, she was a fabulous singer. Of course, we know she was a writer, and we'll be singing some of her songs. She played sitar. Now, the thing about the sitar was, she has had a very musical ear. She had said to me, you know, music runs in the family. She said it to me once, and I was like, oh, it was so dear, music runs in the family. Kind of winked at me, because she knew I was a music teacher and everything. So anyway, Baba instructed her to learn the sitar, and she learned it by ear, by listening over and over to the fabulous recordings that they would have here. And then, of course, that really came in handy because her main role in life was to be Mehera's constant companion. And Baba would not want Mehera to hear any man's voice. And at a time when they were staying up here on the hill, not more than 5 minutes from where we're having this chat right now, when the women were in that compound, in the Meher retreat, the East Room, and then the compound that was created there, one day a workman had to come, and Mehera was not to hear a man's voice. But of course, you can't ask the workmen to not communicate with each other. So Mani told us all that she played the sitar for hours and hours and hours, just to drown out the sound of any man's voice, and until her fingers were raw. Those are my words. I'm not sure those are the exact words that Mani would tell. So when I say about Mani being an artist, then I want to bring this up because this is the true artist that she was. Meher Baba said, "It is a divine art to always look cheerful. It helps others." And we know many times that Meher Baba would say, "Don't look garlic-faced, smile, I personally, I saw that. I could see that in Mani. That I think some of you, if you were fortunate enough to be at Women's Arti, when the women used to come up here to have Baba's Arti several times a month, they would come from Meherazad-Meherabad, and I would see Mani and Mehera, they would go into the tomb, and Mehera, when she would come out, she would just be sort of dazed, and she would walk out, and then, you could tell she wasn't seeing any of us. Mani would also come out, and her face would be almost blank, like a mask with no expression. Just a serious, not a frown, but, no expression. And then, within a breath or two, then it would come on again. I would call it the mask of cheerfulness that she chose for Baba, because she knew that that was what he wanted. And also, it was her job, her role in life, to be Mehera's constant companion. So what would Mehera need? Mehera would need to have a reflection of someone also in their own, maybe, reflection of that's where his body is, whatever the thoughts that they would be having. Then I could see that Mani would, again, get that cheerful countenance, because it was her order from Baba that she should be Mehera's constant companion and take care of Mehera. I remember Mani telling a story. It was, I don't know if it was the year before Baba dropped the body or maybe 2 years. It was not that long before Baba dropped the body when Baba called her. I think it happened twice. So, again, we have to check our facts, but we'll get the gist of it. And Baba called her and said, if something happens, nothing's going to happen to me. But if something happens to me, you would look after Mehera. Oh. And Mani would say, "No, Baba, I can't even hear that. Baba, I don't want it." She resisted. And again, we'll have to check this. Fact accuracy. She would say, "No, I can't even consider it. Baba, no." And so then he let it rest. I believe this is what happened. And then sometime later, not the same day, but I'm talking about time passed. And he called her again. And I'm sure this must be in some of the videos. She must have explained this. And then this time she did agree. And she made that promise to Baba that, she would look after Mehera. And so that is what kept Mehera, Mani, the other women Mandali, even Erich, the men Mandali. What was their main work after Baba dropped the body? They were, what are we to do now? But one thing the women knew was that they had to shore up Mehera and keep her alive. through, and they would remind her, because Baba had sent that message the day that he was dropping the body before. It's like, tell Mera, be brave, be brave. And so then they would remind Mera. So somehow I got on that subject after hearing a little bit of Jimmy Khan's beautiful stories about those last days, but how that must have been. And anyway, let us sing a little song to sort of cheer up that. Speaking of the women's RT that would happen for those of us who were here after Baba dropped the body and the ladies would come out here, there was, and maybe Judy could confirm this, but I had heard that there was the California Baba lovers or the LA group, whoever had come for the last darshan, somebody brought this little round and Mani just loved it. And so we always sang it at the Samadhi during that women's RT. I think you all know it. So I hope it's the LA Baba group.
Yeah, we were so embarrassed because the Sufis had this elaborate dancing. Okay, I'll come here and say this. We, in LA, we were kind of funky. We didn't have a leader. Phyllis was not, she wanted us to run the meetings, which we did. And when, there's only a few people that played the guitar and sang. So we were not like the Sufis in Northern California that had these fabulous performances and they would do these shows. So when 69 Darshan, we didn't really know to prepare anything. We didn't have a head who would say, be prepared to offer something. We were clueless. So when we came, and the first day of Darshan in the hall, we see the Sufis doing this. And so we all gathered at the Amir Hotel, and Jack Small said, God, what can we do? And we said, well, the people who played the guitar backed out because, Baba dropped the body. We don't have anyone who plays the guitar. And then Jack said, well, let's do what we do, the MeherBabaLibrary, which is what we always did in LA. Because we just didn't have anything elaborate. We were just very simple. and so Jack said to do that. I said, no, that is so childish, how embarrassing. So when it came time the next day, Jack went up there and offered to do it, and he called the LA people up, and I refused to. I hid in the audience because I was humiliated because they'd have these gowns and all these things that they were doing, and I was humiliated. Here we are doing Berijaka to Meher Baba, right? I mean, we put Baba's thing to that. I was so humiliated. And then afterwards, Jack says, well, there's some that didn't come up. But when I came, this is the bittersweet. When I came here my first, after 69, when I came back was 8 years later, and I went to one of Mani and one of the women RTs. That was, no, it wasn't that, it was in 80, I think just before I moved here. And that was what the women sung. Every single time they came, they sang that. And so every time I hear that, I experience 69 again. And it's like I had a chance to sing for Baba. It doesn't matter how I'm not a singer. I had a chance to perform for Baba. But my ego, I was so humiliated that we were not any good compared to them, and it turned out to be Mera's favorite. Can you imagine? That's the bittersweet, that I had that chance that I
But
lost.
see, when you have a regret, that's good, because for the rest of your life, it's a little bit of a tug and helps you remember him all the more.
Oh, exactly.
That's what
I
those
just
regrets
said,
are about.
remember this next time.
Aw.
And that's what I tell my next
Mera
time,
was
do
so
not forget
simple.
this.
Okay, Judy, lead us off. Come on.
Oh, come on!
Thank you, Judy, for that great story. I was hoping somebody would be here to be able to tell. And as long as I've known Jack Small and have the reputation as being his singing teacher, I have never heard that he led that. So thank you for adding that to my knowledge base of Jack Small's song leading. That's very, very sweet. I'm just going to bounce around and talk in here today. Like I said, I didn't have anything really prepared. When I came in, I was very happy to see this picture. Are you seeing the picture on the camera? Because this was on Baba's 100th birthday. And I happen to be lucky and fortunate enough to be here. And as a matter of fact, it looks like Mommy has a crown on her head. That's really a costume. Can you see it? Yeah, you want to bring it closer?
Yes, we
Yeah, good. Okay, now it looks like Monty has a crown on her head, but that's really a costume. And what it is if the picture was drawn back further, which you couldn't see. Oh, here, you want to do a glare?
Yeah.
Glare?
Here, put it this way so you can
Okay.
see.
All right.
Yeah, that's better.
Where? But can you get it close? Closer?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
yes.
Anyway, is the glare off of it now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good. So if the camera was drawn back further, I remember that I was standing on this side of Monty. And I can't remember who was on this side, but it was like the happiest day of my life. I mean, besides my wedding day, and besides, I can't remember exactly the day.
That was your wedding day?
No, I said it's the happiest day of my life besides my wedding day. And then the day when I knew that Bob was the Avatar, which was in November of 1979 sometime, but I don't know what the date was. So anyway, this was one of the happiest days of my life. So I just wanted to tell you a little bit about this day. So should we put it back now? Can you? Yeah, we'll just know that can you see it in the distance there? Yeah, okay. So as I was saying before, Monty was such a fabulous artist, producer, director. Baba would have produced skits when all the women were staying together on the Blue Bus tours, or when Baba would actually go away. There would be times when Baba said, prepare an entertainment for me. And so then Monty would prepare so many things, and she would tell the story that I still remember this so much because somehow I find myself in this situation many times, is that she said there were so few of them, and Baba wanted all these little skits, that they'd all have to be in each other's play. And so they'd have to quickly change costumes, and they were so busy preparing for Baba that the time passed. The time passed, and then, of course, when Baba would come back, he would be so entertained. And I often think about that when Monty would have to be in somebody else's play, but then she was directing her own play, the next one up. And sometimes that's how it feels around here for events, especially around Monty's birthday, and Mara's birthday, and Christmas, and New Year's, and Baba's birthday at Meherabad. So anyway, why was this one of the happiest days of my life? Well, first of all, to be here on Baba's 100th birthday. And
They closed it early too, remember? We closed it.
the Pilgrim Center was closed in the middle of February instead of March, because Monty wanted everyone around the world to follow what Baba, I guess, when he was in his lifetime, he was saying, celebrate my birthday in your different centers. So she didn't want to have the precedent that on the 100th birthday and thereafter, everybody would keep coming here like a second opportunity sort of a thing. Well, that would be, unwieldy. But also it's about to celebrate Baba's birth in your own hometown, is that it's like the ripples. Everybody in your environment is then going to know about Baba, hear about Baba. So people would have their local celebrations. So, but we were fortunate enough to be, Peter, my husband, and I have been what I call part-time residents here for like we've been married 31 years, is that right? Anyway, and he was here before that, before we got married. So for over 25 years, we've been part-time residents. So we happened to be here this winter and as residents. So before we even came that season, I got a letter from someone with Monty. Monty was wanting to know something. It's, are you coming? Yes, we're coming. Are you going to be there? Yes, we're going to be there. And it was about planning what was called the spectacle. And spectacle means this beautiful, almost like a pantomime presentation. I like to think about Nordeen Machiavelli when she did the Madonna thing, because I read that there wasn't much dialogue. It was music and acting and some movement. So Monty had this idea that for Baba's 100th birthday, there should be this thing that would happen. And it only lasted maybe 12, 15 minutes. And what it was is she envisioned that what was heaven doing when the avatar was born. And we created a sort of like a pyramid or like the circles chart. It looks like a big wedding cake. That's what the stage looked like. And so on the bottom tier would be the earth is crying out for God. They need the avatar. The 5 perfect masters came. But everything was just
in the MPC.
song. It was in the MPC. And then different songs happened, and different kinds of gods and goddesses. And a few of us were archangels. And then a few others were Hindu gods. And then there were the Houris, is that Muslim gods or something? And we did, it was Monty's idea that we would, sing for Baba. And at one point, baby Baba does come and descend into earth, and like the 5 perfect masters are calling him. I would love it if somebody had filmed it, because I would love to see it. But my part was to coordinate a lot of the music. And part of it, I had the idea, and Monty loved it. I said, how about when Baba's being born, we sing the Hallelujah chorus. And she loved the idea. And then I felt like, oh my God, what have I got myself into? Because it's like all of us. Judy, were you
I was doing the makeup.
Yeah, we all, it was just residents who were participating. I've got all these residents and we're gonna sing the Hallelujah chorus. I mean, there's a few singers among us, but how's that gonna work? So this is back before tape, before you could do all that fancy stuff with sound editing on computers. And I somehow got a Mormon Tabernacle choir recording of the Hallelujah chorus. And I was able to cut just the part where they go, Hallelujah, that part. And tape recorded it. And then I taught that in 4-part harmony to whoever could sing it. And it only lasted like a minute and a half, which is great when baby Bob was being born. And then I remember Huey was there because he was in charge of making the baby come up out of the cradle and received into the arms of Mother Earth or something like that. And it was just an amazingly happy day. But the part that made me the happiest was then after the festivity was done and we were all mingling and having the cake and this sort of thing, and I was still in my archangel costume. So he says, Monty's calling you. Monty's calling you. I said, oh, Monty's calling you. What does Monty want? So I went over, Monty called me over, and sometimes Monty would have that habit of like just talking mid-thought, and then you'd have to catch on to what was the beginning of it. But she goes, this song. And so I felt like she was saying, here's a song that you should sing. So I said, oh, Monty, there's a song that you love? She goes, yes. And Monty had a Snow White voice as well as her Avatar MeherBabaLibrary, that voice. She goes, drink. So then she said to me, drink me only with thine eyes, and I will pledge with mine. It was this beautiful, like Snow White Disney, beautiful voice, soprano, and she sat and sang the whole song, just to me, as close as I am to this. There's a camera here and I'm about 2 feet away. That's how close she was, like faced this far from me, just looking right in my eyes. And then she would look away and she almost looked like Snow White when she was singing, or leave a kiss within the cup. And she did it sort of operatically too. I will not ask for wine. So then she sang the whole song to me and just sort of did a little like this, like a little nod at the end. And I was like,
Oh.
speechless. and all I could say was, thank you so much. That was so beautiful. And there might have been somebody within like 5 or 6 feet, but otherwise it was just the two of us, about 2 feet apart, her eyes looking in mine and singing Drink to Me Only with Mine Eyes. And then I found out later that it was one of Mary's favorite songs too.
Wow.
And I'm not real good
Wow.
words tonight, but the second verse, it's something like, I asked thee late, I sent thee late a rosy wreath, not so much honoring thee as giving it a hope that there around you it would not withered be. You know, when you gave your beloved the wreath. But thou thereon didst only breathe and sent it back to me. Since when it grows and smells, I swear, not of itself, but thee. So it's about that beautiful, the fragrance of God's love. So I just want to cry thinking about it, because I must say that was one of the highlights of my life so far. That Mani on Baba's, it was like a Baba birthday present to me. I was like, oh, thank you, Baba. You know, Mani sang Drink to Me Only. So the next day I looked and tried to find people who knew the song. I think Rhoda Dubois said, oh yes, we Parsis love it. Drink to me only with thine eyes. You know, she sang in that low, Irani kind of voice. And anyway, someday when I'm in good voice, I'll sing that song.
Excuse me, 2 seconds, Debbie.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I have to just change a
Okay, I
tape.
keep talking rather
It's
than singing.
wonderful.
We should sing a song.
Turn the fan
Okay.
back on if you
One
want.
thing that was really fun when I lived in the trust compound was that I sort of got to be the music teacher that Mani would call. So I was really lucky. And when she wrote, after Mara passed away, she wrote that beautiful song, To the Glory of Love. And then she sent it out to all songwriters she could think of at the time. And of course she said it was for anybody, the words, and that they could write. And she said, we'll have our version. And our version just meant, I think Heather wrote the melody with Mani. And then I was lucky enough, because I knew how to notate music, being a music teacher, I got to notate it, and it was so great to sit with Mani and Heather and, how does it go there? Oh, okay, wait a minute, and then I'd have to write it down. And then another time when the twins, that leads into this song, when the twins were going to go to the States, either the first or second time, Mani said, I've written a few songs for them, and I just want to sing them for you to see what you think. Of course I'm going to love them, because she was so great, but she just wanted to have somebody to bounce them off of, I guess. I can't remember if this is the one where it was Avatar, MeherBabaLibrary, sing his name, JJ. That might have been, I'll have to ask to get my dates straight, but BBB with Baba. She liked the fact that Rabba could rhyme with Baba. She had the most lovely articulation. So she did it with a little exaggerated, that kind of British Rabba. And this might lead into another song I might do, because Mani loved the imagery of the potter and the clay. And so right here she's again talking about, be like India Rabba, let him mold you, let him hold you, let him mold you to his joy. Be a Baba girl, B-A-B-A. See, she plays on the word, B-A-B-A, Baba girl, B-A-B-A, Baba, B-A, boy. So, you guys gotta help me here, because I gotta lean over the music like this. Here we go. Be with Baba, be like India Rabba. Let him hold you to his joy. Be a Baba girl, be a Baba boy, be a Baba girl, be a Baba boy. Times when you feel low, times when you feel high, he'll never let you go, because he loves you so. He's always nigh, holding your hand, letting you stand in his love to grow. So be with Baba, be like India Rabba. Let him hold you to his joy. Be a Baba girl, be a Baba boy. Meher-Baba, God. Meher-Baba, God. Drive those strangers from your heart. Give them notice to depart. Shoo, shoo, be gone. Leave the house alone. My king has come to stay. He needs more space to spread his grace. More than every day. So what we must do is be with Baba. Be like India Rabba. Let him hold you to his joy. Be Baba God. Be Baba boy. Be Baba God. Be Baba all of you, I told you we would bounce around today. Well, I happened to bring this because Christmas is coming up. Mani enjoyed the holidays very much. Mani and Mera, and of course Erich, many of Baba's close ones, including Baba, were educated by the Catholics, the Catholic schools in India. And so they would enjoy Christmas celebrations, as many people. In India, we love to celebrate every holiday, right? So, but Christmas is one they would love. And Mani, she would, and sometimes I would organize the Christmas programs, and she would say, "Save me a little place for a joke, okay?" It's like, of course. So we always had to put a place in for Mani's joke, and she would tell the best jokes. This is just one little joke, and probably many of you have heard it again and again, but I always love it, and I did hear Mani tell it. Okay. And it was, guess what? It's one of those Tommy jokes. Remember, there would be the book, and they were each to learn some jokes, and they would divide up the joke book A to J and J to this, and they would each take different letters. And I remember sometime, was it Norina or somebody got in trouble? Margaret? Somebody stole somebody else's letter.
She stole the Kitty Davies.
Stole
I think if I'm
a
not
T or
mistaken.
something. Or maybe she stole her letter because Norina said, "Darling, I was getting so tired of Tommy." So then she took one of Kitty Davis, like A through whatever. So that's, anyway, this is a Tommy joke. Okay. A joke Baba liked. And Mera always would love to see Baba enjoy these jokes. One Tommy joke Mera remembered, because Baba enjoyed it so much, was this, and Mani would tell it. A teacher asked her students, "Does anyone know where God is?" Everyone except Tommy looked very blank. But Tommy's arm shot up. "Yes, Tommy, do you know?" "Yes, miss," Tommy replied. Mani would say, "He's in our bathroom." "How can you say that?" the teacher said, very surprised by his answer. "In the bathroom?" "Well, miss, every morning my father knocks on the bathroom door and says, 'Oh, Lord, are you still in there?'" Mani would, she would milk it for all it's worth, because, give it all you got, that sort of thing. Let us see. We talked about how Mani was the constant companion of Mera. Oh, I think it's good to say, Mani had such a welcoming presence. The first time I ever met Mani was at Meherazad in November 1979, and of course I knew I was going to meet the Mandali that day, but I sort of came here a little green, like probably a lot of people come here. I've heard a little bit about Baba, and they have a family, and the Avatar had a family, and some of them stay with, and they're called the Mandali, his close circle. I didn't know that much. But I just remember running into her, and I think I have a picture of it. Somebody took a picture that first day, and she was wearing polka dots. She loved to wear polka dots, and she'd have like polka dots and then a contrasting polka dot scarf. And I do remember this about the first meeting was that, "Well, this can't be your first time, can it? It just seems like we know you. You seem so familiar. We must know each other." She would say, I'm paraphrasing, "We must know each other. This can't be your first time." "Well, welcome." And then she would put her arms around you. And I saw her, then later I saw her do it to, other people as well as it was me. Because, and the twins, her nephews, Baba's twin nephews, are always so good about this too. They would say, you know, Baba said, whoever is my lover is my family. That's who is my family. So his family themselves were aware of that, and they were so welcoming to Baba's family. And I just wanted to say that because I think that's so important for us to remember now when newcomers come. It's like Liz Patterson would say that at the Meher Spiritual Center as well. People would say, "Oh, are you new to Baba?" And then she would correct them, asking a newcomer, "Are you new to Baba?" And she would say, "Don't say that. Say, new to us, but not new to Baba." So Mani had that welcoming, beautiful welcoming spirit. Well, it's rolling along. I feel like maybe doing 2 more songs and tying up there. Let us do Open Up the Door. And this was written more in Mani's latter years. And I don't know the story behind it. But I just know that it might be when Mani then was saying, you know, I think after Mara passed, it was very difficult, you know. And, you know, when they lost Baba, it was how the Mandali could go on. You know, they didn't know how they would go on. And then they said later, and Mani would say this too, he told us you would all come and we'd see you. And she would say, with the pride of a father and the joy and love of a mother, he said, you'll see them, they will all come. And that's what enlivened them when there was that last great darshan. But this song sort of, I feel it sort of saying, okay, I'm ready if you're ready for, you know, whenever you're ready, I'm ready. You know, she played her part perfectly to the nth degree. And I wasn't living in Meherabad at the time when it was her passing away years, but I was told that she took it very bravely and sang and said, if Baba and Mera are with me, I can do anything. I can go through this for their sake. And she did. Let's sing Open Up the Door. I have to turn to the right page. Oh, I hope the rock and roll button didn't get hit there. On this keyboard. Okay? There's someone at the door, Lord, knocking at your door. Open up the door, Lord. Open up the door. Open up the door, Lord. Open up the door. I can't stand anymore, Lord. Open up the door. Your face I adore, Lord. A glance I implore, Lord. I don't ask for more, Lord. Open up the door. Open up the door, Lord. Open up the door. I can't stand anymore, Lord. Open up the door. I don't seek to soar, Lord, to plains above the shore, Lord. Just drown me in your core, Lord. Open up the door. Open up the door, Lord. Open up the door. I can't stand anymore, Lord. Open up the door. To your kingly store, Lord, tears of pearls I pour, Lord. My rosary has more, Lord. Open up the door. Open up the door, Lord. Open up the door. I can't stand anymore, Lord. Open up your grace upon me pour, Lord, to be with you evermore, Lord. Open up the door. Open up the door, Lord. Open up the door. I can't stand anymore, Lord. Open up the door. Open up the door, Lord. Open up the door. I can't stand anymore, Lord. Open up the door. Open up the door. Your door.
Say Baba. Debbie, did you feel like having one little godbrother story before your last song?
Oh, okay.
Or are you
Sure. And then we'll do the last.
last song? How would that be? Because she has a special, she has
Sure.
something special inside the book. So,
Oh, and that's a great book. God, Brother, Dreaming of the Beloved, Monty's books, and a new one coming out next
But
year.
I want to say something about this song, to open up the door. Because when you described it, it's like Manny is just crying out to Baba to take her. But when I heard this song, I heard it as that we are calling Baba to open up the door for us. And to let us in. And
Absolutely. It should be interpreted every way, because good poetry should be speaking to the heart. And I don't, that's what I mean. I don't know the story behind it. So it's true. I don't know that why Monty wrote it.
no, it's nice that it
yeah.
has its two sides.
Yeah, yeah,
Two sides
yeah,
of the coin.
yeah.
I sang, we sang Open Up
Thank
the
you.
Door for Amartithi a couple of years ago. And Heather gave me background on the story, and because I'm having a senior moment and I can't remember exactly, and I had written it all down, what she said, but there was a story, but I can't remember it, so I'm not going to say it. I'm sorry, but anyway. But Heather knows the story.
We'll get Heather to know.
I'm going to read a story from God Brother, and it just so happened that I didn't have a copy, and I was visiting with Janet Judson just before I came, and I said, you know, I'm going to the chat, and I need to read a story from God Brother, and she was gracious enough to lend me her signed copy from Mani. So this copy is actually signed by Mani to Janet of God Brother. Yeah.
I'm going to read her inscription. Is that too? Janet won't mind.
For your tireless help behind the scenes, dear Janet. Mani. That was May 22nd, 1993.
Awesome.
So I picked a story called The Slap. And it's, so Mani says, when I spent my holidays with Baba, I got so much cuddling and hugging from him that I took it as my natural right until I had my first lesson that where courtesy and discipline were concerned, I was no exception. It took place at Meherabad. I was about 7.5 years of age, or 7:30, as we say in Gujarati. The occasion was a happy one, where Baba's men and women mandali were gathered before him. Perhaps it was for a singing program. I don't remember. Always in our life with Baba, the men and women were segregated, even from sight. So the men were sitting on one side of the hall, and the women on the other. Between them was a screen just high enough so that the women didn't see the men, and the men didn't see the women. A clear passage or aisle down the middle led to where Baba was seated on the gadi at the far end of the hall. When I came in on this assembly, very self-confident and happy, Baba and his mandali were already seated. In a hurry to get to Baba, I crossed over all the slippers and sandals lying outside the entrance and went straight up to him. I expected a welcoming smile and all the loving that I usually got. Instead, I found Baba looking very hard at me. He had a heavy and his eyes were flashing fire. Before I knew it, he pulled his hand back and gave me a resounding slap on the cheek. There was a stunned silence. No one could believe what had just happened. I didn't make a sound. I just stood before him like a statue. Baba gestured fiercely. Look at everyone here. All of them have removed their sandals outside before coming in. He pointed to my feet. And you still have your slippers on. Who do you think you are? Go right out and remove them at once. All the eyes were on me, and you could have heard a pin drop. I had to walk back all the distance, back down the aisle, and it seemed the longest walk I've ever had. Straight as a rod, I went out and took off my little slippers, but instead of coming back to Baba, I slipped into the women's side and sat among them, hiding myself as much as I could. As soon as I sat down, there was a clap. A loud clap from Baba, and one of the men's voices, Mani, Baba wants you. I wasn't moving. I just burrowed myself deeper among the women. Immediately, there was another clap. And again, a more insistent clap. And a more insistent voice, Mani, Baba is calling you. The women said, go, Mani, go. Baba is calling you. What are you doing? It was unbelievable. I wasn't obeying Baba. Baba was calling me, and I wasn't going to move. Another clap. A louder voice. Money is wanted at once. The women kept pushing me from behind until I was forced to stand up. Once I was up, my head was visible above the screen, and I saw that all eyes were fixed on me. There was nothing I could do except walk to Baba. As straight and proud as I had walked out, I walked up that aisle back to Baba. I stood next to him, head high, without shedding a tear. Baba had a twinkle in his eye. He put out his arms and lovingly gathered me to him. And that's when the dam broke. And that's when I bawled, "You hurt me! You hurt me!" I hadn't cried when I was slapped, but when I was embraced, boo-hoo! Boo-hoo! Baba petted me and kissed my tears away. The more he kissed me, the more I bawled. The more I bawled, the more he hugged me. At last, I was comforted and went and sat down among the women mandali. Now my world was rosy again. It turned out to be one of those occasions which ended in my feeling happy that something unhappy had happened, because I got a double dose of all this loving from Baba. But I never forgot my lesson and never again forgot to remove my slippers.
This is great, Robin. Love hearing you read. Yeah.
And
Oral interpretation.
And you know, I just want to say too, you know, I met Mani, my first visit to India, which was in 1971 and 1972. We came just, you know, as it was turning into 72. And for me, she was a wonderful role model, and she, 100%, she would just act, you know, put her whole self into it. And later, when I would read Ba's ghazals, he would say to me, you know, 100%, you know, acting full force. And because I had that relationship with Mani for all those years and heard her tell stories and been, you know, she was the role model, I knew what that meant, full force acting, so then I could do that. So it was beautifully, thank you. Learn from her.
That's right. Oh, wow. She was the role model. I totally agree with you.
Now Shiva's over here saying, did I miss bells? I hear, I've been singing it all day.
Oh, well, bells are here so true and clear. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. You'll have to wait till February 25th at 5 a.m. because that's when we sing that song.
Okay, good. He'll not be heard him anymore.
Yeah, Monty.
Heard his cry.
Well, and the Glory of Love song is so beautiful. To the glory, I'm sorry I don't have the chords, but you will hear that on the 22nd morning. Well, I guess you guys won't, but you'll. I mean, it was such a beautiful song that she wrote to Mera. To the glory of love, let all hearts sing. Happy birthday, Mera, Queen of Meher King. And there's one verse, I'll just say one verse for them. Gentle breath of his, no, that's not it. It goes, now we are out in the open, in the strong unshaded sun. The wings of good fortune protect us, for the love of our beloved one. I always remember that song because I felt like Monty was saying, we're, you know, without Mera there, they just, you know. But the wings of good fortune will protect us, the love of our beloved one. And we celebrate your ecstasy, Mera. You know, sad for all of us, but happy, of course, for her ecstasy and her union. Monty called it your reunion gift from Baba. And you know, beloved and lover now are one, earth's immeasurable gain. Well, I thought it would be fun because, you know, we're having memories. We're thinking about the times when we met the Mandali, and they would tell us about what it was like to be with Baba. And so here's a song that they really loved. Mera and Monty would love this song. Towards the end, we're going to change it just a little. I'm going to tell a little story within the song. Once upon a time, there was a tavern where we used to raise a glass or two. Remember how we laughed away the hours, dreamed of all the great things we would do. You know what we would do? Those were the days, my friend, we thought they'd never end. Sing and dance forever and a day. We lived a life we choose, we find and never lose. Those were the days, oh yes, those were the days. Then the busy years went rushing by us. We lost our emotions on the way. If by chance I'd see you in the tavern, we'd smile at one another and we'd say, you know what we would say? Is everybody singing? Those were the days, my friend, we thought they'd never end. We'd sing and dance forever and a day. We'd live the life we choose, we'd find and never lose. Those were the days, oh yes, those were the days. Just tonight I stood before the tower. Nothing seemed the way it used to be. In the glass I saw a strange reflection. Was the past so far away from me? Those were the days, my friend, we thought they'd never end. We sing and dance forever and a day. We live the life we choose, we find and never lose. Those were the days, oh yes, those were the days. This is where I'd like to tell the story that Monty was once telling us that she was saying these things to Mera. Usually it was Mera who was so sad, but Monty was saying, well, it's sort of like the life has gone out of it, the party's gone, he's gone. But Mera said, no, Monty, we mustn't think like that, because while we are still alive, while we are still in these bodies, we can remember what it was like being with him. So what I like to say is, these are the days, because we're living in his advent. And we have the good fortune of hearing Meher Baba's name. So we have to remember, these are the days. These are the days, my friends, we know they never sing. We sing and dance forever and a day. We live the life we choose, we fight and never lose. These are the days. Oh yes, these are the days. These are the days. Oh yes, these are the days. These are the days. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. It was wonderful.
One more thing was
5 minutes. 5 minutes.
We have only
Skype
5
one
minutes left.
person or not? Debbie, are you for now?
Oh, yeah, I don't have to rush.
I will try.
Skype in one person. So just to show you what we can do.
Accidentally, a few times I had rollers